2 weeks ago, I tell my girlfriend, I want to speak to high school kids. I want to speak to people that are still in school, that have like fresh minds, they're ready to conquer the world. Because I talk to a lot of CEOs, multimillionaires, I talk to real estate investors, and they already know everything, so it's hard to work with them. So I said, you know what, let me give this a shot, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. So here's what's funny about how this worked out. So 2 weeks ago, I just told my girlfriend, I think I want to speak to high school kids. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And it just started to happen. All of a sudden, I got a phone call from her. Then I got 2 other phone calls from 2 other schools that they got their email forwarded. So here's a little model that one of my coaches, Neill, came up with, and I think just goes to show how this kind of works, because I really can't explain to you how this works, but it's called the D.O.R model. When you have an authentic desire for something, which for me was, I want to speak. And you know when you have a desire for something, and even when you tell yourself, I don't think I can do it, and or you'll say, I just don't have the money, I don't have the time, you still have the same desire. You can go against your desire all you want. You can't change your desire once you have it. So as long as you're authentic with that desire to start with, which I said, I want to speak to high school kids. This is what starts to happen. I don't know how, and this is not something that I can really prove to you. It just works that way for me. So on and on and on. When you have a desire for something, a real desire, whatever it is, doesn't mean you're going to get it now, but if you're like, this is what I want to do with my life, somehow in this vast world, you start to see those opportunities. I don't know why it happens that way. It just does. And once you see those opportunities, you get this sense of readiness. Like right now, I was thinking about my phone ringing, and you won't believe it. My phone's ringing. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. So when you have that desire, opportunities start to come. It just does. It's just the way it works. I have no idea why that happens. Your body all of a sudden gets ready for whatever it needs to. It's kind of like, how many guys drive right now? You guys have? Do you remember when you got your first car, all of a sudden you start to see that car everywhere? You guys know what I'm talking about? It's just weird. It's not like someone up on the sky is like, Chris just got a new Volvo, put 20 more Volvos in Carlsbad. Didn't work that way. It just happened to be that way. We have something in our brain that seeks patterns. That's how we work. You know, that way when we see a berry that doesn't look like we should eat it, we know that if we see another berry that's purple, we probably shouldn't eat it, even if we know it's not the same one. We just have this recognition. That's how we survived. So I think that comes, now that we're a little bit more evolved, it works the same way in things that we want to do in our life. So my desire was to write books. I was told from a young age that I have a tough time expressing myself and all this stuff, but I had that desire. And somehow now I'm on my 4th book, and my friends are like, I don't even have time to read 4 books. How did you write 4 books? Because I had this, and it was an authentic desire. Somehow I just found the time to do it. It's really strange how that worked. And you know what? And there was times where I couldn't do it, and it wasn't in my cards, but it was okay. I had to wait a couple months, but I still had the desire. I ended up finishing it. So if I can give you guys with one simple tip today, if you guys have a desire for something, make it authentic, write it down, and believe it. That's all I can tell you right now. The rest, I can't tell you anything more than that. I don't have any secrets to tell you or any wisdom I had from the past, but I do know that it works for my clients. The simple desire and just believing in it. If you guys want to go today, go write it down. Write down what your desire is, whatever it is, and watch what starts to happen. It's really strange. It's kind of like when people say, oh, I was thinking about my Aunt Edna. And all of a sudden she calls. I mean, maybe it was just coincidence. It could have been. But maybe it's just now that you're paying attention to it, it just starts to show too. Even though Aunt Edna was going to call anyways, but now that's on your forefront of your mind. Does that make sense? So with that being said, my goal, to answer her question in a long form again, is my goal was to help people. Somehow, I didn't know what. That was my desire when I was younger. I knew I came from, my brother raising me, my family not speaking English, and I said, when I came to this country, it gave me a lot. It did. It gave me an education. We were on welfare and food stamps. We had a government assistance. I was in ESL for 3 years, English as a second language, to learn English. I had all this assistance, and I said, you know what? One day I'm going to give back. That was why I did it. And somehow I made that up, and it just happened to work that way.